Good evening. It's 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome back, board. Welcome back, parents, teachers, and students. I know everybody's excited to get started for the 2024-2025 school year. I want to welcome Derek Screen to the board. He's our newest board member. Derek will head our Future Ready Committee, and so you'll hear more about that in the upcoming months, but we're excited to have Derek involved. So we'll get started as per usual with the approval of the board minutes. Our last board meeting was in June. Your board minutes are in your package, your board package. So does anyone have any comments, corrections, or changes? If not, I'll accept the minutes as approved by unanimous consent. Next order of business is our support group update. We'll hear first from Ms. Lindsay with the PTO update.
Oh, thank you. So from the PTO, first of all, we're excited to welcome our staff back. We had a few welcome committees at the middle school, elementary school, and high school today welcoming staff back. So super excited to see everyone back. Over the summer and starting of the year, we've had some really exciting things happen. We were able to award about 37 grants across all three campuses. Because you guys are sitting in the middle school media center, you must know. So one of those is the furniture that's in here. We were able to refresh the media center. If you got a chance to walk through the fifth grade hallway, we were able to contribute to the science classrooms for the fifth grade new science classrooms. So really proud and excited about that. So overall, we were able to do $59,000 for special projects and professional development. Thank you. So as we're getting into the 24-25 school year, we have approved staff allotments of $250 for all teachers, teaching assistants, and counselors. That's already been approved and probably communicated across all campuses from the principals at each campus. Our summer bash was successful. I think we had the largest turnout that we've had since we've done it. This was the third year. We had over 500 attendees. We were able to do some recruiting, got some excited parents signed up to be on committees. So it was great. This past Monday, we hosted the PTOs beginning of the year luncheon at the high school multipurpose room, and that was great. The staff loves the vendor that we use for that, so that was popular, and we're looking forward to doing that again next year. With that, we do the beginning of the year, end of the year, and 7 other luncheons throughout the year. So our hospitality teams are geared up and getting those themes ready so that we can host those. Our new spirit wear collection was launched at the middle school during Tech Day. The elementary school Meet the Teacher events also had the new spirit wear, and we are lost my place, sorry. We're going to be having the new apparel at all of our events this year. It will have, well, I don't know if you guys have seen the new, because we're not doing the metal drinkware. So there's plastic drinkware that we're offering, and it can be customized. So that's been pretty popular, filling out an order form. The leader of our spiritware does an amazing job of coming up with those ideas and pushing that out. So that is what we have going on so far. Looking forward to supporting the staff and showing them some love this year.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. I know everybody's excited about the support you provide, so thank you again for all you're doing. Next, we'll have a report on athletics by Mr. Slake.
Good afternoon or evening. Things are off and running. We got the football teams that were down on the field today. All of our high school sports started last week. Middle school football started last week, and all of our other middle school sports will start Monday. We give the kids a little bit of time at the middle school to get in, have a couple days of school before we kick them off. We got a couple changes with our admissions this year. We are now moving from Ticket Spicket, which was our platform currently. It's now going to GoFan. GoFan is used mostly around the state. Our conference decided to go to that because they have a less of a surcharge. With that being said, we're going up to $9 per ticket now. Crazy for high school sports. But what we're doing is we were at 8, we're going to 9, but there'll be no surcharge on the families. So it's kind of an illusion. Before it was 8, but you had a surcharge. Now it's 9 without a surcharge. That's what the conference decided they wanted to do. They had more of reasons behind it, and I said, listen, we'll go with what the group's doing. So that's what we decided to do. With that being said, we're also going cashless for the first time. That has become a trend, not only in the sport world, but really the world itself. Everyone's going cashless. So admissions will be cashless. GoFan app, $9. So those are pretty big changes going into this school year. I will be getting an email out to all the LNC community K through 12 next week with some updates about the athletic program, as well as this information and our golf outing registration, which is open currently. The golf outing is at Skybrook on Monday, October 21st. So that will be coming out.
Mr. Schlegel, does the cashless admissions to sports have anything to do with concessions, or will that?
It does
still be-
not. It does not. So we're going to continue to run our square for the concession, which will also take cash. So really, it's only going to be for admission. And we're hoping with GoFan, they're actually giving us iPads that will be hooked up to AT&T or Verizon. So we don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. And I'm actually hoping this will keep admissions moving a little bit quicker than it has in the past. Yep. Now, my volunteers, we talked about it last night, our booster meeting. You know, we're going to get a little bit of flack from those people that may not read an email or may not know in the beginning. But I'm hoping everyone starts to understand this is just a trend, that everywhere you go at this point, it's going to be cashless. So
Great. Thank you so much.
you got it.
Next, we'll go to the state of school report with Superintendent Stein.
Thank you so much. Lots of fun things to share with the board. So the first thing I wanted to share is we had our transition day today. So always like to thank our teachers, some of our kindergarten teachers and our 5th grade and our freshman teachers who make that possible. That transition day, it seems like we've been doing it forever, but that's not true. We actually added that not too long ago, and it really is a great opportunity for those students to come in during those key transition times, become more comfortable, meet their friends, get into a routine before everybody shows up tomorrow in the rain. So it's really a great thing, but it does take away some of the prep time that our teachers have to actually get ready for the school year. So we really thank them for that. But it was awesome to see the kids so happy, seeing their friends, and just be very comfortable and really get used to their new environments. So kudos to all the folks that were involved in that. Do want to welcome, and I've shared in your board packets in June and then again now. We've had quite a few staff things that have changed due to retirements and moving and different opportunities. But I'm excited about all of the new staff we have. It's really a great group of people, very experienced, coming with lots of different backgrounds. So that was good, and we're very fortunate given the teacher shortage and some of the things that are going on that we were able to draw a good crowd of folks to come to LNC. So happy to have them here and wanted to welcome them. Also wanted to thank all the staff that do summer work. When you're in summer, people don't realize how much is happening here. And it's happening with a few people, but there is a lot happening, from scheduling to conversions to new student management systems. That's the Infinite Campus, to all of the facilities and tech upgrades that have to happen. So, you know, our buildings look great and our tech functions great because Lon and his team and Scott and his team, I always call it their Super Bowl. It is crunch time. I mean, they're busy most times, but that's really when all of that happens. And if you go into our buildings right now, they look beautiful and everything is functioning great. So in particular, I want to shout out to them. And plus, all of our principals had to learn a new student scheduling system this summer. And anytime you convert, it looks like Infinite Campus is going to be a great tool. But we're a pilot school. And so, and we tend to do that to ourselves. We're like, we can pilot, and we hop out there. And sometimes that goes really awesome. And then sometimes there are challenges. That's what pilots mean. So we had more challenges this year, and we had to kind of pivot, and we're still even working on some things. And fortunate for us, we have two exceptionally good registrars in Val Norris and Jennifer Wolf. They did a lot of prep work, so it could have been even more challenging, but because of the work that they did, I think once we get up and running, it will be a really great system for us. But we are still navigating some of those things. So anybody who's watching, and I know some of the parents have asked, really, I think it was schedules, and we got those out, and we're ready to roll. And the rest of it, we'll work on getting done. With the first day of school being tomorrow, I am sure, and hopefully everybody received the information about weather. Weather is probably my least favorite part of this role, because it's, people get mad at weathermen. I now understand you do the best you can with the information that you have. And Sarah and her team helped to put together communication, letting folks know our plan is to move forward. We will be assessing, the team will be looking at it very carefully. And as a charter school, one of our largest challenges is we have people coming from all over, literally from the South Carolina border to north of Statesville, that come to Lake Norman Charter. So it is impossible. It's difficult for a district to do that, a county, but ours actually stretches over. We have kids from 7 different counties, maybe 8. Which one, Haley? 7 or 8 counties? 7. Dang, I was right the first time. So for 7 different counties. So the point of that is, depending on where you live, it may not be awesome where you are. And you'll see in the communication, we were very specific that we obviously want kids and families to be safe first. That's number one. But if the majority of our kids in the area that the majority of our kids come from can go to school, we're going to go to school because that's the right thing to do. So, obviously we want families to make the choice that they feel is the safest for their kiddos. And we're, if it's going to impact the majority of our kids, then we will make a decision to either delay or to push off completely, depending on what the inclement weather is. So there is a lot of thought that goes into that. And I think depending on where you live, that can be a little hard to understand, but it's North Carolina. Literally, you could be here and be over in Concord, and it looks very, very different, right? So we know where the majority of our folks come. We have people in all of those areas, and we try to monitor that very closely.
Shannon, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
How is this impacted by, or how does this impact the beginning of the school year where, that determines our funding?
Right. So in inclement weather situations, we do have some flexibility to excuse absences if there is reason to do so. And again, we would never make a decision that impacted the majority of our students. They're much more likely to be one-offs. And I know most families and kiddos want to be there on the first day of school, which we're sensitive to. But we also don't want to push back what we know is best practice if the weather works for most people. So great question. Do want to point out and invite anybody who is here tonight. If you leave tonight, you might want to go under our canopy, one of our alumni. It's really great. We're starting to see our alumni come back and be involved in lots of different ways. And this alumni is both a coach, our soccer coach for us, and owns, JC Brooks is our soccer coach. He also owns a pickleball company that he does pickleball courts, and he donated a pickleball court which his company put in under the canopy, and the kids are uber excited. Now we also have a lot of middle schoolers are into cricket, which I have no idea what kind of court that is, but we try to accommodate. So that might be the next thing. We really do have some talented cricket players I don't understand the sport at all, but they're very excited. But it is cool that is an option. It is under the canopy. So even when we have not great weather, that's something that our kids can do. And you'll learn more about it, but Sarah's looking at this as one of the things that we're looking over at our high school too, because as we know, pickleball is an up and coming place. And we just recently found out, Sarah, how many people are in the pickleball club? 100 and yeah. So we have 175 students in our pickleball club. So putting in a pickleball court probably is a good investment. So working on that. And PS, we're going to have pickleball courts over at our new elementary school, which is a great segue for me to talk about our new elementary school. Our new elementary school, just to give the board and the community an update on where we are if you're part of the elementary planning committee, we are well aware, we are all the way up to here with all of the planning that needs to happen on the design side. We have a great partner in that, Bobbitt Construction. They are very receptive. They've been working with the town of Huntersville. One of the alumnus, back to alumni, one of our alumni from here is actually the town planner that's reviewing our plans for the elementary, which has been great because he understands our school, our carpool, the things that we do, the impact to the community. So that's been really great. So we're working through that process. The designs are almost final and the board, we will probably at some point in the next 2 weeks have to do a special meeting when that contract is final. And you're saying, well, why timing wise? So we have to get what is called a guaranteed maximum price so that then we can go to market in September to get our funding. And so it's a little bit of like dominoes, and you're going to see one of those dominoes tonight, which is a funding resolution. We did a resolution earlier in the spring, if you remember, where we could reimburse ourselves. So some of the costs that we've been outfronting, when we go through this process, we'll be able to reimburse the coffers to the school. And this is another part of that process. So we have a whole finance team, legal team. Haley is, I don't know how deep in due diligence, pretty deep. She probably could use a life preserver and some help. Yeah, but we're almost there and she's done a great job. And so hopefully we will come to you with that. It's going to be in a contract amendment. We already have a contract with Bobbitt, but this is an amendment to then, and it will be dependent upon financing, but it will take us then into construction. Then in September, we're hoping to come to you with financing the same way. Not sure if we'll need a special meeting in that case, but we'll keep an eye on that. And the idea is that we can put a shovel in the ground October 1st. So, and then we will invite our community and our board to join us with that groundbreaking. So we don't get to do that often. This will be the third time I've gotten to break ground at Lake Norman Charter. So I'm kind of excited about that. And that'll put us on a timeline that would complete the building in April of 2026, which gives us enough time to do the finishing work for the elementary, bring in supplies, do the low voltage, the technology. And so it's nice to have that cushion of time, and that's what we'll need to kick off in 2026. So that's kind of the timeline. Happy to answer any questions about that. Jared is obviously serving as the board representative on that, so any of us can answer questions. Or if you want to wait, we can do that.
Just a quick question on the September financing with capital markets the way they are. Is there any appetite to wait to see what the Fed does, or do we think it's best to go out?
Yeah, and Haley can feel free to chime in here and hopefully I'll do an adequate job. When we did when we did the elementary school, we did a complete refinancing on our entire property. What was great about that is the rates were awesome. And so we lock those rates in. So for these 3 campuses, we have exceptionally good rates. But part of that deal was to give the investor, who happens to be Nuveen, right of first refusal. And so more than likely the rates, and this is part of where we're dealing with the financial advisors. It's not going to, if we were going to the open market, that may have bearing because we're going back to the same investor and known product, and it's not going to impact enough that it would make sense to wait. And then it could potentially throw off our timing. So yeah, as everybody in the audience will laugh, because I love to say, is the juice worth the squeeze? In this case, it is not. So so that is what I mean, but it's a great question because there is a lot happening out there. But in this case, we have a known investor, which you know, you don't get to go to open market and have competition, but we also then when we do investment reports, quarterly investment reports, we're going to report to one investor versus having to do multiple things. So in the end, that's not such a bad thing either. So
And
any other-
just to, oh, go ahead, Ms. Love. Tag
Okay.
on to that, Shannon. Just so you know, PNC are serving as our underwriters, and they are going back to Naveen to discuss pricing based upon the market shift. So they are going to make sure that the pricing we get is fair and in line with market. So
Thank you, Haley. Yeah, it takes a team. If you saw the team on the elementary, we literally have a sheet and there's I don't even know how many, there's like 25 or 30 people that are bond counsel, our counsel, that advisor, and one is PNC who, and the great thing is the representative is Monica Cutno, who's from PNC, was a charter school operator and opened a charter school. So she has a deep investment and understands all of those things. So that was one of the reasons we thought they would be a particularly good partner for us. Okay, two other things. One, I'm gonna give a shout out to Jody McKay. She has a passion. It started probably with her own kiddos working over in the elementary. Jody is one of our third grade teachers, and she is helping to chair the high school Knights Navigator Club. This is going to be an umbrella club that will serve to recruit, organize, and communicate with high school juniors and seniors who want to adopt an elementary school classroom and support them and offer volunteer opportunities, whether it's coming to read to our kids, whether it's to provide tutoring, whether it's to go on field trips, to participate in wax museums. This will give cross-campus opportunities. I always love when our kids can go cross-campus. A lot of empathy and a lot of leadership is shown. So a big shout out to Jody for that. And then the last thing I want to show, Kara Matoka just sent this to me today, so I'm going to quick put this up. We talk about the scholastic art medals and we did in the spring, and there were two people that were coming from Lake Norman Charter who got to participate in the national, not just the regional, where they had done very good. So as you can see, Avian Cannon, who graduated, and Charlie Weaver, who's still with us, both won national scholastic awards. And as Scholastic Art and Writing Competition is the most prestigious contest for middle school and high school. Some of the past winners, Amanda Gorman, Steven Spielberg, Andy Warhol. So we're talking echelon people in competition. Avian and Charlie were recognized in an awards ceremony that was in New York City this summer. So really awesome. And just to remind folks that this is Avian won a gold and silver medalist at the Nationals. She is going to SCAD. And what is really, really cool about Avian's accomplishments is it comes with some scholarship dollars that are renewable for 4 years. So it helps her on obviously the next step in her journey. And then Charlie also won a gold medal. And this piece of art, one, is huge. It much bigger than you can imagine here. I mean, huge, more than my wingspan. And it highlights all the important women in her life. And two of the people on that are actually teachers here at Lake Norman Charter. So it was really cool. So we're very proud of both of them. I am always amazed because we have incredibly bright and talented kiddos who are also artistically really creative and talented. So pretty cool. So that's how I will end my report.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Dodd. So it's the beginning of the school year, so we don't have any old business. But I know the committees are getting started on planning for the future. So next board meeting, we'll have committee reports, but none this meeting. So we can move to new business. 2 items on the agenda. The first is the night's leave policy, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Wilson.
Hey, so last year, the state legislator implemented paid parental leave for school employees. When the legislation came out, there wasn't much communication around it. We didn't know what was going to happen with funding. It just kind of came out and we didn't know much. So Shannon and I had a conversation. We pulled in finance committee and we decided that charters had the opportunity to opt in or opt out. We made sure that if we opted out, we could opt in future years, but we really just wanted to take a beat. Let's digest this. Let's make it make sense. Let's figure out what it would mean for our institution. So for the past 8 months, we've been taking a look at the state legislation, what that would mean for us, what the funding looks like. And what the conclusion we came to was that if we implemented the policy that the state wrote the way the state wants it to run, it would really hinder the school's operations. And the only funding that you were getting was a fixed rate for substitutes, but only for teaching staff. So if we had an employee go out on paid parental leave that wasn't in the classroom, there was no funding that we would get for that person being out. So what we decided was we just didn't think that the funding that you get was worth what we would have to sacrifice as a school and hinder the operations and just impact our students. So we decided that we would still come up with a paid parental leave policy because we just felt like that's the right thing to do. We felt like that's where society is going now, and we just felt like that was in the best interest of our teaching staff. But we had to figure out a way that we could fund this policy and make it make sense. But by self-funding it, we could put parameters in that would still work for our school. So what you guys have in your board packet is what we're calling Knight's Family Leave. So Knight's Family Leave is Lake Norman Charter's paid parental leave policy. And the gist of it is, and I'm going very high level, you have to be a permanent employee of Lake Norman Charter for a continuous 12 months, full-time, and you had to have become a parent to a child under the age of 18 by birth, adoption, or foster care. If you meet those, you are entitled to, if you are the birthing parent, 8 weeks of paid leave at 100% and 4 weeks of paid leave if you are the non-birthing parent. Currently, the way it stands is that leave is only ever given to the birthing parent through short-term disability. So, and the reason they're able to get disability is just because they gave birth. It's not for bonding with a child. And unfortunately, we're not able to give any paid leave to the non-birthing parent. They have to use PTO. The compensation, again, would be 100% of their regular pay. So in order to fund this, we had to look at the benefits that we offer. And I just mentioned short-term disability. Our current short-term disability is employer paid, but 90% of those claims are for maternity leave. So what we decided to do was shift short-term disability to an employee voluntary benefit so that people could sign up. And what we're going to do is use those savings to help fund paid parental leave. But on the flip side, we wanted to make sure that we were covering any employees that may have an injury or a surgery. So we have dropped our long-term disability to kick in at 12 weeks versus 24 weeks. So that was the other adjustment we made. So tonight we are coming to the board to get this policy. We've ran this through policy. We've ran this through finance committee and get Knight's Family Leave approved for our staff, and it would be effective 7/1. So we already have 2 employees that could potentially benefit if this is passed tonight. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Haley? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the policy as presented by Ms. Wilson.
This is Jared. I move to approve the family leave policy.
This is Nicole, I second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Great. Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you.
Next we have Ms. Stein with the elementary school funding update.
Sure. And so if you guys, this is also in your board packet. I won't go into great depth, but this is this is a resolution that is required for the board of directors to pass for us to be able to seek tax exempt bonds in the market. And it goes through all of the important legalese and authorization for us to go through the process, for us to make sure that we're able to secure funding for the elementary. So we've done this before for our other elementary school and when we refinanced, but it is to make sure that the board is aware and giving that authorization to move forward.
Sorry, is there a dollar limit?
No, we'll come back to you as a board when we do the funding request.
Shannon,
not to exceed.
hold- there's a not
Oh,
to
sorry, there
exceed.
is.
Yeah,
Where is
not
it?
to exceed 27 million.
Okay, thank you, Haley.
You're welcome.
And
Oh, there it is.
This is the underwriters for PNC.
I'm sorry.
the underwriter for this has been already selected as PNC.
Correct. You guys voted on that
Okay.
last year.
Right.
And we probably won't borrow 27 million. Obviously, you shoot high, so we don't have to come back.
Right. Currently, just to give the board a little reference, currently the bid for the elementary, and we're waiting on some plan review, is around 16.6 or 7 currently. Again, pending plan review. Then we're going to have probably at least another $1 million in things that have to go into the building, right? Computers, low voltage, supplies, rugs, desks, those kinds of things. And then there is a finance carrying cost that will come with that. So we'll run through all of those numbers when we get to that financing piece and contract value. So the first thing you'll see is the contract. And then the second thing will be running through that total dollar amount that we have to do. But as Haley said, we do not plan on hitting this amount, but it allows us to have the authorization if there would be something unexpected and you wanted to move forward.
Haley, with the current bid being around 16, 17 million, and then this authorizing up to 27 million, I'm sure you've run debt covenants, like with the 27 million, are we still in compliance with our debt covenants?
We are, Amy.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at a package of about 18 million in proceeds, but we are going to finance capitalized interest, debt service reserve fund. Obviously there's financing costs. So we're looking at about a $24 million package right now. But we'll come back to you guys with a hard number once we get all of that worked out. And just to add, this is a different process than when we funded the first elementary school. We already had kids in seats at that time. So we already had revenue coming in before we had to pop the building up. This is going to be different. We won't have the kids until we actually have the building. So we're having to fund some of the interest and stuff until we can get the kids in place. And then we can obviously get the revenue for those students.
And just another difference that we're gonna do is when we did the original elementary, we started in modulars and we did a stagger. So we started with K1, 2, and then we added 3 and 4. So in this building, because it's smaller, we're gonna be starting with all of the kids at one time. So as Haley said, it is a little bit different process in every way, but looking at what we need to do in order to do that. The problem with going with the modulars, in case, because that would be a question I'd have if I were you, is why didn't we do modulars again? Modulars are very expensive to install. You have to design everything, then you have to work around a working school building. So the design, that's a challenge. And when we originally did elementary number 1, the plan was, and we looked at all of our financing to stay in those modulars for 5 years. Well, within 2 years, the parents are like, what does it take to get us out of these? And the board was at that point too. You don't have a gym on a day like tomorrow where there's inclement weather to go to library or anywhere else. You only are in your little pod. So that is one of those learnings of, we lost some money there, that this is fiscally, it'd be nice to not have to do that transition and to consider also what the quality of the education is like.
And you have to find a place for them after you're done with them.
That was, well, and we rented,
Position.
yes, we had bought some of them, which was kind of unusual that we were able to do that. And then we rented some of them. But even to get them transported to our facility was quite an ordeal. So there's a lot that goes into it that makes this process, although different, and then causing us to have to look at things a little bit differently, a better way to handle it.
And so with us getting revenue, kind of, I guess I'm thinking about it day one from all 5 grade levels. Does that ultimately lower the cost of the financing? Like, do we eat it down quick? Does it go down? I may be thinking about it the wrong way, but is there any benefit to that happening from a financing standpoint?
You mean bringing all the kids in at the same time?
Right.
No, we just kind of need to do it that way.
Yeah.
We
need to get it
as we're running all of the financials and recognizing what that revenue looks like, it since the building is built to house them all, we really need them all to be able to cover the debt.
And just to add to that, we're in a different time now than when we built the first one. Cost of construction's gone up, financing's gone up, so it's just,
Labor's
it's
gone.
gonna cost us more to actually build this building than the first one, just because of the time we're in now.
But that makes that April date a little bit more critical because we have runway if there are delays.
Right.
Because we can't start.
Right, and
then-
And that's what happened. I'm glad you brought that up, Nicole. So originally, the building that we're currently in the elementary, the plan was to move in there in the fall of that year. And the builder came back, there had been rain. More importantly, there had been bad dirt. There had been delays in construction. So we are like, okay, well, we're gonna move in October over that fall break. And so we were able to pivot because the kiddos were already there. We were already getting that revenue. In this case, that's why that April date. So that, thank you for bringing it up. Good catch.
Anybody else have any questions about the resolution? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the resolution.
So move.
resolution.
Be approved.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, it's Jared.
Oh, Derek?
I moved to-
Okay. We're gonna
Properly
give-
moved and
We're gonna give
second.
it to Derek since it's his first meeting.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries. Thank you. Is there any new business for the board? If not, I'll accept the motion to adjourn the meeting as of 7:36.
So moved.
Is there a second? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, meeting adjourned. Thank you.